Mike Ward is a Democrat from Louisville. He served in Congress from 1995 to 1997. President Bill Clinton appointed him as Associate Director of the Peace Corps, and Mr. Ward is a former radio show host who now works for Avakian Consulting. Did you see your picture on there?
Yeah, now you're within 10 years now.
Yeah, that's your congressional district photo from 1995.
Actually, can I digress there?
Was that your state rep photo?
I liked my state rep picture so much that I made it my official congressional picture. And so it's like that picture is literally 1990 or so.
Wow, you gotta love those glasses.
Yeah, I do love those glasses.
Well, speaking of 1990, that was when that census came out, and or actually that was when the census was done. And then you were in the State House of Representatives when those census numbers came out. And explain what your role was in that redistricting process way back in 1992.
Well, it's of course a fun story, as most politics stories are, political stories, because I was in my second term in the State House representing the Highlands area of Louisville in the Bon Air neighborhood in 1990, the 34th district, and I figured, well, my second year I'm going to watch out for my district, make sure I have a nice district and didn't get messed with at all.
And by nice district you mean Democratic voters to reelect you? No,
nice district in that the people liked me there. I didn't care what party they were if they liked me. But no, mostly, and also I'm into it. I'm kind of a junkie. And you know, that's the first step, is recognizing that you are and acknowledging that. Yeah, acceptance is the step one. So that I took all the data because it was slow going to Frankfurt. They had a big computer system that did allow you to do it by census tract, as Susan Stokes will tell you, because her census tract was moved to a district she could never win. At the direction of Speaker Blandford at the time. So what I did was I took the precinct by precinct data and put it in a spreadsheet. And this was 1991, and people weren't as used to that. I went to the Speaker's office and said, well, you know, I've developed a spreadsheet with the precinct by precinct data, after they said, well, you know, we don't have the state data yet in the computer. And they said, you know what their question was, don't you?
What's that?
What's the spreadsheet? And I said,
they're used to legal notepads and pencils.
Exactly. I said, well, no, it's in a computer. And they said, oh, great. Well, you go with this, with Jim Yates, who was chairman of the State Government Committee, and you help him out in Louisville. So it was just terrific fun, because not only did I get to play with numbers, which I enjoy, but I got to find out who didn't want somebody in their district, or who wanted somebody moved out of their district.
Well, and was it that detailed? Would they actually go in and say, okay, in this neighborhood, I know these people have voted against me, and send me letters, so let's take them, we'll take the other people on the street, but take those two houses out?
No, it wasn't about constituents, it was about potential opponents.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, so they, you know, some potential opponents, they would say, well, no, let's move that guy or that gal over here.
So this city council person has ambition, and let's make sure they're in somebody else's district.
Exactly.
I see, I see. So when another former Congressman, Ron Lewis, was on the program, he was saying that the members of Congress look out for their own, basically, personal well-being, and sometimes that's mutually, you know, beneficial for Republican congressmen or Republican state reps to have more Republican areas join them, and that helps out the Democrats that are in neighboring districts, because more Democratic, you know, precincts move in. Is that basically how it works when you all are getting together in a room and
well,
this out?
It's funny in the long term how it worked out, but Ann Northup was in the neighboring district to mine.
In the State House? In
the State House. She was actually in the district I held in the Congress. And in the State House.
And then vice versa.
Yeah, exactly. In the legislative redistricting, she had an advantage because she had made a deal with Speaker Don Blandford before he went to prison to say that she would vote for the Education Reform Act in return for getting her district watched out for. But really, she almost didn't have to do that, because we shared Bardstown Road from Eastern Parkway out to the Waterston Expressway, if you can picture that. I had the west side of Bardstown Road, the poor side, and where I live, and she had the other side. So where the Brown Barnstable Party is, all those neighborhoods, but they still vote pretty Democratic. So by definition, any precinct she wanted to get rid of, I was glad to take. and any precinct I wanted to take, she was glad to get rid of. So the same thing happens in Congress. That's where you were going.
Right.
Is if you've got counties with a Republican district here and a Democratic district here, they may swap some counties for the same mutually beneficial reason.
Well, we've been talking back to the state legislature, the state legislative districts. We've been talking about which districts have lost some population, which have gained. Let's take a look at the current map for the state representatives, the State House of Representatives, what those look like here. And you know, those are all the districts across the board. There's 100 of them, so there's a lot of them. And what we've been seeing is some districts in eastern Kentucky have been losing some urban districts in Louisville and northern Kentucky have been losing some, and then those suburban districts are getting bigger. So what is the likelihood, Mike, that some of these the districts that have shrunk in population comparatively, you know, are some of those incumbents who represent those are going to be facing other incumbents as they maybe move some districts up to those suburban areas that have been growing?
Virtually nil.
You don't think so?
No,
they'll protect their incumbents.
Well, the House draws its own districts, the Senate draws its districts. So when the House draws its districts, it'll look, and the Northern Kentucky that you showed is a great example, and Louisville is somewhat, but Northern Kentucky is a little easier because the two districts, the districts that need to add population can just radiate out a little. And what they would do is radiate out a little in a way that avoids the homes of the legislators who represent the suburban areas. Because a Democrat isn't going to win the suburban areas in northern Kentucky, no matter how you slice and dice it. And maybe you could get really creative. I've not looked at it in that depth, but I doubt it. So there's no reason to try to throw two members in together. And of course, the Democratic House isn't going to throw two Democrats in together.
Right.
So no, I don't think that's going to happen.
Well, it may happen more, or maybe more of an issue in the state Senate, where there are a couple of Democrats who represent more rural districts in eastern Kentucky and western Kentucky that may need some more population. What do you think? Let's look at the Senate map right now, actually. That Senate district map, you can see there. There's a couple of districts in western Kentucky that have lost some population, are a little bit smaller. What do you think about that? Because the Republicans control the state Senate. Right,
and the same thing will apply, though. If I'm a Republican state senator, I'm going to say to my Republican leadership, you know, if you don't throw an incumbent Democrat in with me, I'd rather face somebody who isn't well known, hasn't run for office, than to face an incumbent, even in a district that's still more Republican than Democrat.
But with two districts, let's say the 4th district and the 6th district, which are both held by Democrats, Dorsey Ridley from Henderson, and the 6th district is Jerry Rhodes in Madisonville. If they squish that district together to be, for instance, Henderson, Webster, and
Hopkins put two Democrats
County,
together.
Put two Democrats.
Oh, now that could happen.
Yeah, that's what I was asking.
I'm sorry, I thought you meant two of different parties.
No.
Oh, right.
Two incumbents from the same party.
No question, something like that could happen.
Because the Republicans are in charge of that pen.
And the same thing could happen in the House, where the Democrats throw two Republicans in together.
Right. Well,
they did that last time with Ron Krim and Bob Hellringer.
That's right, and that's why Bob Hellringer ran for lieutenant governor in 2003 instead of running for re-election.
Well, he didn't run for re-election. Yeah.
Right.
There are different years, those elections. I didn't want to mislead people.
Right.